Hey guys, we're live. Gina Elliott and Dani.
Dani Harris.
What's going on this morning, Dani?
Not a lot. I'm excited to talk to Ian this morning and his wife. I've met Teresa a few times, but I've not really talked to her about Bwjjc yet. I'm kind of excited to hear a little bit about their dynamic and her training and stuff, just because I haven't really trained with her.
I've trained with Ian and his brother. She was there, I think, but I don't think that she trained with us that day. So like I've met her. She's very nice.
No, she's really nice. Yeah, she's really strong too. I've noticed that.
Yeah. But when I did meet her, we didn't get a chance to train together. But anyways, like all the new flare. Can you see it?
It looks a lot nicer. Yeah, it looks a lot nicer.
Looks a little less generic. We got our logo there. Got the color there on the background. Working on it. But he has not seen the link yet, so we'll give him a little time. Maybe we'll send it to her as well. You said you're going to go train this weekend. What's your plans?
I'm going to leave today, actually, and go to Knoxville first.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to hit up a spot with our friend Gina.
Oh, yeah.
Down there. And then I'm going to go check out Shamir's place down there. She invited me to come see her gym.
Awesome.
I fought a girl from Knoxville in May, but outside of that, I don't think I've ever really messed with any of this. Like, I've never really met them or talked to them. So it might be a good opportunity just for me to see what's going on down there.
Scott taught a seminar there. But
how long ago? A long time?
Yeah, I wasn't with him. It's back when they were 10th Planet, so that's had to have been, or they weren't 10th Planet yet. So they probably dropped their 10th Planet affiliation like 2 years ago. And it was before they were 10th Planet. I don't know how long they were 10th Planet, so I'm going to guess it was 4 or 5 years ago. But Scott's been there. I never have. I don't really think I've ever trained anywhere in Tennessee.
Honestly, I've been branching out down there because it's not far from us at all. And there are actually a lot more people are training, so it's given me an opportunity to meet new people and kind of just explore a little. I've ran into some good people. It's been fun.
Yeah, of course. A place that I would like to train if I had the opportunity would be Jason Matherly's place. I wouldn't mind to go there. I think that would be nice. But I've never really trained anywhere in Tennessee. Maybe I'll have to give it a try.
I'll probably train in Chattanooga this evening, so I'm gonna end up being in Knoxville like midday. And then I'll train in Chattanooga this evening, and then tomorrow I'm spending a few days in Franklin, Tennessee, with Clay Mayfield.
Okay.
So I'm just making my way down this way, and then going to Clay's, and gonna stay at Clay's actually until Sunday.
Gotcha. It's showing that they still haven't seen it, or they've seen it, but they haven't opened it. So I don't know.
See, this is silly. I can't view my messages. I need to start doing this on a laptop, probably, but the connection's just not as good as my phone. Hold on. I'm going to leave the show for a second because I'm going to see if I can get him on.
Okay. While Dani does that, guys, we're going to talk to Ian Lawler and Teresa Lawler today. I know, they just wrote that they're coming. I think when kind of a lot of these things started, Ian has been very proactive about getting back to training, what it means to get back to training. So we're going to talk to him a little bit because he did come up with the plan to open on June 1st before we had any opening dates set. And so we're going to talk to him about kind of what was inspiring him And then we'll also, ask him some questions. So if you have any questions, anything that you're kind of curious about what his plan is, please feel free to, you can private chat on here. That's an option. You can send me a private IM, especially if you want to remain anonymous. I have my phone here. So if you want to write me privately and just let me know that you have a question kind of anonymously, that is definitely okay. So, hey guys, Dani just clicked off so that she could write you, and she'll be back on momentarily. But anyways, if you guys don't mind, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
My name is Ian Lawler. I'm the owner of Somerset Martial Arts and Fitness Extreme in Somerset, Kentucky, and this is my wife, Teresa. She basically runs the gym and does everything that I'm too dumb to do.
Behind every successful man, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So Dani's still not back with us yet, but I'll go ahead and ask a question or two. You guys own Somerset. Is it SCA for short?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. How long have you guys been open, and kind of what inspired you to open your gym?
We've been open for 5 years and 4 months. Really, we just needed a place to train. Got out of the military, and my brother and I got out at almost the exact same time. He came just a couple of months after I did, and we just wanted to be able to have a place to train and as close to our hometown as possible. And that's pretty much it. We just wanted to teach and pass on the art and the love.
Are you a CrossFit gym as well?
No, we are not a licensed cross box.
Okay.
Asking if we have barbells, rowers, kettlebells, all that stuff, and run functional fitness classes, then yes.
Gotcha. So what kind of enrollments do you have? Is it primarily kids? Is it mostly adults? Like, what does your day-to-day operation before this all happened kind of look like?
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday were our big days. 5:30 to 6:30 is our kids program. We do a combo class so that the kids get the most out of it. So we do 30 minutes of jiu-jitsu, and then we do 30 minutes of boxing / kickboxing drills with them, so that they can get a wide variety of martial arts and self-defense in. And then our adult program runs from 6:30 to 7:30 for adult jiu-jitsu, and then from 7:30 to 8:30 is our competition team training. And then Tuesday and Thursday is striking class, and then Saturday is open mat, and then anybody that wants to work out with me and Teresa gets aerobic capacity for the day.
So you also, I think, for a little while had a fight promotion. Is that correct?
Yes. My wife did. I kind of helped a little bit there, but she ran it for the most part.
Gotcha. Just want to let everybody kind of get to know who you are. Dani's still not back with us, but I'll go ahead and kind of ask some questions. Did you guys close voluntarily, or did you wait until the governor ordered it? Because we did not close voluntarily at 10th Planet Richmond. We stayed open until the governor ordered us closed. So when that happened, where were you guys at?
Well, we pretty much agreed that we were going to stay open until there was confirmed cases of the virus in our county. And once that happened, we went on ahead and closed. And that happened, I think, the Wednesday before. We were ordered to close by that Friday, if I remember correctly, and Wednesday night that week was our last night, because it went from 0 to like 4 confirmed cases in Pulaski County overnight. And we just wanted to be safe than sorry. When this first started out, just like everybody else, we were genuinely concerned about it. We wanted to make sure that we did everything we could do to keep people and our members safe. So that's kind of the direction we went.
So kind of moving forward, as this all kind of progressed, like it sounds like you closed, voluntarily a little bit before you were ordered to, what was kind of the timeline of what happened after that?
Well, I mean, we basically just stayed closed. I mean, I never stopped working out.
Right.
I'm 100%. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't like big government. We'll just leave it like that. You know, we kept using the facility as we saw fit in the mornings and such. But after that, it was within just a couple of weeks afterwards, the web portal for the disaster grant was open. It was supposed to be like a $10,000 forgivable grant, and you know, based upon first come first serve. I filled out for it the day it was open. Never even got an email back about it. So we've been operating at, well, I mean, nothing for all intents and purposes. For, you know, this makes what, week 8, week 9 that we're coming up on. And it's really just the good graces of several of our evening clients that you know, messaged us or told us like, hey, we want to do the virtual classes, or you know, some people like straight up told us, they're like, we don't even have a computer at home, but don't stop charging us. We love you guys, and we want to see this when we come back. So we were able to sneak on by, and then you know, fortunately for us, our landlord Mark Merrick, who's just a phenomenal human being. You know, I called him up when all this happened. I was like, hey, you know, I can cover all the bills for March, but you know, I don't know, April's just not going to happen. It won't be there. And he was a saint. He interrupted me mid-conversation. It was like, hey, man, we're all Americans. We're going to take care of each other. This is not a time to sit here and squabble over who does what. He's like, you've been a great tenant for years now, and we want to keep it that way. So we had a lot of support from a lot of really good people.
So progressing forward, you know, you have good support and everything. You've been very proactive in like, okay, this is going on for months. What was it that kind of made you feel like June 1st is the day that I've decided enough of this shit, I'm opening?
Well, mostly it was just as more and more evidence came to light. Like, I do not listen to mainstream media of any type. No, I don't care what news source it is, because let's just be real. As long as there's money in politics, there's going to be money in media, and it's bought and paid for. 100% of the time, bought and paid for. I don't care which end of the aisle you believe on. If you're you know, left wing, believe in your policies. Right wing, believe in your policies, and know that all of you are being equally lied to. So with that said, we started I started really researching the virus. I talked to several doctors and physicians that you know, were like in major hospitals, like people telling me this is a lie, like you are being lied to. There is no war zones outside these hospitals. There's no bodies being stacked up. Like, I called friends of mine that worked in hospitals in California, even, because that's originally where I'm from, and they were all telling me the exact same thing. They are being told to be quiet. And then as news came about, I was like, you know what? I was like, June 1st will be, you know, 10, almost 11 weeks that we've been dealing with this. The reality is if it was going to get bad, or even as close to as bad as they said it was going to get, it would have got there. And I saw no reason to bankrupt our way of life, you know, all for the sake of, you know, nothing really.
So I noticed when your plan that you have for reopening, you have kids first. Is that right?
We addressed, I mean, we're all classes when we start back on June 1st, all of our evening classes will go, I'm not going to say back to normal, but our times will be back to normal. We addressed the kids class first because, you know, like any good parent, you know, we're both parents, you know, we wanted to make sure that parents' fears were addressed before they started bringing their children back in. You know, most adults and most people that participate in functional martial arts are not your run-of-the-mill individuals. They're usually strong-headed, strong-hearted, and strong-minded. You know, so we wanted to address the parents, because, you know, for the most part, the kids that are in our program, their parents don't participate. They enjoy hanging out, watching their kids, and you know, that's all good and well, but they're going to be fearful for their children. They have every right to do so. That's called being a good parent.
We've heard that it doesn't really affect kids the way that it does adults. Do you get a lot of response in that respect? Like, because that's kind of been my thing. Is like, it doesn't really affect kids they're pretty asymptomatic. There are some special cases, and I think that's kind of the hard thing is like this morning I saw 2 people posted, oh, it's here because like a kid in Kentucky is on a ventilator and they're showing like those awkward symptoms with the blisters on their feet. But it's been here, like it has been here, and it feels like sometimes like, when we say it primarily affects, you're always going to have like the outlier that it affects as well, like the person that it affects negatively that it wasn't really supposed to, but that's not the norm. And so like that's kind of the issue that I have sometimes is like it feels like the fear is coming from things that are not the norm. Like we're talking about like, and I'm not saying it's okay that like a person dies or a kid is sick, but it feels like when you say that, people kind of use that against you of like, you don't care if this one person dies. Well, I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to tell you is it's not the norm. It's also not normal for children to get cancer. It's not normal for children to do a lot of things. But every now and then you have an outlier that it affects that way. So have you felt kind of the pressure there of that kind of, I don't want to say bullying because that's not exactly what it is, but do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I actually wrote up a really long post on one of my friends, because I got tagged in a buddy of mine, Derek, that I went to school with, and he was talking about the virus. And at the end of the day, like there's no nice way to say what I'm about to say. People die every day. And the reality is we as human beings, we have bleeding hearts for the ones that we care about, our relatives and our family members. And my heart goes out to parents or really anybody who's been affected by this virus. But at the end of the day, like, when I pick up the newspaper and I see the obituary section, unless, and this is every week, unless I know somebody who's got a picture on there, I'm not crying inside over the obituary section. We as people don't have an emotional constraint to individuals that we don't know. It's like when you hear of somebody famous dying on TV, like I didn't feel anything. I know it sounds terrible or rude, but I mean, I think if most people were honest with themselves, they'd feel the exact same way. And further than that, we're not just talking about individuals, a small portion of individuals that are getting sick, and then the unfortunate part of a small portion, and even smaller of individuals whose immune systems can't handle this virus. We're talking about lifelong pursuit of liberty. And I know that sounds like a little far-fetched, but history dictates that once freedoms start being taken away from individuals, once individuals start losing their rights to make decisions for their families, to have the ability to even choose whether or not they go outside without wearing a mask, it generally follows suit. If you look at the history of even just our nation or just the last couple hundred years, you don't get those freedoms back.
Right.
Once tyrants in positions of authority and power get power, we're talking about men and women with more money than God. They don't need money. What do all people with power want? They want more power, more control. They want more individuals stuck under their thumb, because that's ultimately what that type of psychosis gets off on. And
yeah.
So I'm in agreement with you on those things. So the problem that we run into is people will argue and say, well, you care more about, defending a few liberties than you do about the making our general public sick. Like you don't have the right to do that. So like, I guess what I would say is like, what's your counter argument to that? Because there isn't a really good argument to that. Like, yes, I do very much care about my liberties and no, I'm not saying that they're not important. But that kind of seems to be the argument, is that, well, you care more about this than that. And I don't think that's the case. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. The continuance of my post was, the people that are screaming from the mountaintops, the sky is falling. You don't care about people. You don't care if people die. You don't care if you hurt people. Are usually the exact same people who are living a life that is perpetuating a system or a cycle of disease. I'm sitting here like... Yeah. If you look at Kentucky right now, and yes, I can cite every single one of these CDC links I did in this post and posted the pictures with them. I have them still on my phone. Kentucky is top 10 for obesity. Kentucky is top 10 in the U.S. Some of these are not per capita, by the way. Top 10 for morbid obesity, We are top 5 for tobacco use. We are top 5 for tobacco use related diseases. We are top 10 for for obesity related diseases. And we are top 5 for tobacco and obesity related deaths, not per capita. So when
I kind of stopped. Sorry.
I was going to say, so when I'm sitting here, like, people are yelling at me like we don't care, and we're running a business that literally counters all the major risk factors that are being cited for this virus, as well as, dozens of other self-induced diseases, then I can't sit here and feel sorry for you. It's you either have one way or the other. Either A, we have the right to choose the life we live, and you have the right to kill yourself with a fork, or B, we don't.
Yeah, that was my amen hands.
Yeah, I think we feel very much the same way. I was gonna say, like, it's insane. I mean, I have adult patients at work that tell me, like, I'll tell them to drink water, and like that's what you need to support your oral health, and they'll tell me they don't like water, and I'm just like, what? Like, that's what you're made of. That's what you need to survive. But I was in line at Walmart, and I don't even usually shop at Walmart. I have a local deli that I use, but actually it's closed its doors because they haven't been able to follow all the guidelines and all that stuff, which is super sad to me. But I'm in line at Walmart, and there's a lady smoking a cigarette out of the side of her mask.
Oh,
And I was just, this is the kind of shit where I was like, I don't feel bad for training. I've been driving to Tennessee to train every week to train jiu-jitsu. And like, my gym should be open here. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, if we're waiting in lines to get into Walmart, this is completely ridiculous at this point.
So, Emily Prince had a good question here. She said, under the current Kentucky outline, are kids' classes even allowed June 1st? Because, kids, technically, they're not allowing any kind of childcare or youth sports until June 15th. Does that change your plan at all? Or do you feel like you're still kind of moving forward with that?
I'm still moving forward with it. I don't like youth sports are a community thing. Like, for example, what do we have? Soccer. Yeah, soccer. We have what's the league here called? The summer sport. Yeah, so like here we have summer sport that sets up like dozens of kids, different soccer teams, and like flag football and stuff like that. And then they all play on the same day. So like you got field after field after field with hundreds of parents and hundreds of kids. Like, it's not like that. If somebody walked in from the health department, which is very unlikely, because while they're getting an uptick in budget, they're not going to be hiring more people. The health department is like any other state office. They're closed by 5 o'clock. Our classes don't even start till 5:30. But if somebody did come walking in from the health department, I would have no issue, making sure that the kids are practicing social distancing and so forth. And, at the end of the day, if the parents are bringing them in, like, who am I? Who's the health department to judge?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And of course, for those who don't feel safe, my wife just said, we're going to continue to do our Zoom classes for the whole month of June, so that they get a full month to be able to see that everything's okay, the sky is not indeed falling down, Armageddon's not happening, we're good to go.
We talked about this before. Like, what if they decide that there's a spike in Kentucky coronavirus cases, and because you have had kind of like a permission, I guess, that your plan is okay. What if there's a spike and they decide, nope, we're pushing everything back? Like, there's been a spike, all dates and deadlines are pushed back. Do you still plan on moving forward with June 1st, no matter what?
Absolutely.
I mean, because one of your stipulations was that, if people in your county were sick, like if like 5 cases pop up in the county your gym is located in, June 1st or nothing.
Yes. Again, that was at the beginning of all this. I
understand.
I wanted to make sure, just like everybody else, that this was not going to be, originally Anthony Fauci had stated, along with our CDC, that we were estimating something in upwards of almost 100 million cases. I think it was like between 96 and 98 million cases.
Well, when this first started, the model they used, I think, was from the UK, and they said that we were going to have 2.2 million people die. That was what it was. And then I think they changed it, and now it's like maybe 200,000, which is to go from 2.2 million to like 200,000. And it feels almost like they're kind of using the same 2.2 million to, instead of like saying, no, we that model is different. I don't know.
I honestly think that when this first started, our scientists were doing the best they could do with what they had. But the reality was, when you're basing our system off of a place like Italy, whose medical system was already trash. And I'm not saying that to be mean. If there's anybody listening from here on Italy, sorry, but your all's medical system. But then you extrapolate. So they extrapolate raw data from other places that don't have our capabilities to what they expected to happen here. And I think once it got here, which I'll be honest with you, I think it's been here for years. We literally have cleaning supplies written in English, right? That like in Walmart before this ever started, that listed COVID as one of the things that they killed. So like this has been around for years. They've been studying it in the U.S. since the 80s. So like
there's actually, I did a rotation in a hospital when I was in school, and there was actually an outbreak of a certain strain of a coronavirus when I was there. And then they called it COVID, but a different number. But it's been around for a long time, like a really long time. And we have outbreaks in our hospitals actually pretty regularly. And it's usually always a respiratory disease. So I don't know why this one became such a big deal and why we were so scared of it. It's insane. It really is.
I'm not going to voice my opinion on that.
I can't believe it now. Like, I was kind of scared at first because obviously it was put out there like so scary and such a crazy thing. So I was like, maybe I'll hunker down, I'll do this. And like, I never thought that my job would ever get taken away from me because of a disease. I mean, I wear a mask to work every day anyways, I work in dentistry. So then when that happened, I was like, okay, maybe I should take it seriously. And then after a while, when I realized a lot of my friends are nurses, a lot of people that I'm close with are working in the hospital, and they're telling me like the reality, I'm like, I'm not going to stay home anymore. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And all my friends are losing their businesses.
What do you say to somebody who says that you're only motivated by money to open back up?
I wouldn't be sticking my neck out for hundreds of business owners right now that have been, Phil Perkins and I made a group for, and I've been calling the governor's office and the attorney general's office. I wouldn't be willing to get arrested and combat this just for money. To be honest with you, I've made very little money off of owning this gym. Anybody who owns a gym can tell you, like, this is not a rich man's game. You do this because you love it. And I've done what I've done as, to get back to, yes, operating my business, but more than that, to stand up for civil liberty. Like, at this point, I said I wasn't going to voice my opinion on this. I guess I lied. I wholeheartedly believe, after, watching both sides of the aisle, watching all the nonsense come out of mainstream media, right and left, but wise Indian once say, right wing, left wing, both belong to the same bird. I think that this is absolutely turned into a ploy from the government to see exactly how far it can push its citizens before they start pushing back.
Emily wrote down here in the comments also, I agree with you a little bit. I see myself turning more and more like libertarian, like as this goes on, because I'm starting to realize a lot of things that I juggled with before. I mean, it's obsolete when you really don't have a choice of anything, and it's becoming a little more clear what's going on. But Emily wrote in the comments that she said there's probably going to be a spike because they're testing a lot more people now, which I agree. They have the drive-through testing centers, and obviously you're going to have the antibodies if you've ever had it. Doesn't mean that you're sick right now or you're even like going to die or experience anything. The gym owner in Brunswick, New Jersey, Tom DeBlas, he tested positive for the antibodies, and he's like, I haven't felt sick in a long time. Like, I must have had it like earlier this year when I had a really bad cold, and we just suspected it was a cold. But he's like, he tested positive for it, and so did his family, and they never were really sick.
Man. A large portion of the population, I think, test positive for. Actually, 2 years ago, and my wife can tell you this, when I was getting ready to fight my buddy Brandon Bishop, the Saturday before I fought him, my body just collapsed. I'd been feeling terrible for a couple of weeks, and I couldn't breathe. I was doing some strength and conditioning on a Saturday, and I was trying to do a box jump, and I actually passed out trying to do a box jump. Well, my wife finally got pissed at me and took me to the emergency room in Lexington, and I got tested for everything, strep, you name it, the flu. They tested me for everything. I was negative for everything, but somehow I had double lung pneumonia, a major upper respiratory infection, and my nose was my sinuses were completely shot. But according to them, I wasn't sick, so they just gave me some antibiotics and to set me on my way. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm like, shit, I probably had it. I'm not going to go get tested for the antibodies, but I literally had all the signs and symptoms of what somebody who had this disease would have. It lasted for a couple of weeks. It was awful.
I don't know. This is all kind of tough stuff, If you don't care to share it with our members who are listening, because like Emily Prince, she's a gym owner. And of course you were privy to our meeting last night that we had for some gym owners. If you want to kind of share with everyone what your plan is kind of moving forward. And also, I think it's a good idea to make sure that we send out the invitation to other gym owners. If you are kind of on the same page, then you need to kind of get with Michelle Day and Rolando, because there is going to be a big push, I think, to kind of move forward. But if you don't mind, kind of give everybody a kind of a rundown of what your plan is and what you plan to do moving forward, and any invites you want to send out.
Well, June 1st begins phase 1. Phase 1 is our strictest phase. No contact of any type during any of the classes. All the facility prior to the start of business will be completely sanitized. We've bought hundreds and hundreds of dollars in cleaning supplies. We got this it looks like a weed sprayer, right? But you pump it up, put bleach water in it, and literally walk around and spray every surface, every wall, and everything we've got down. Then we do the exact same thing at the end of class, so it's actually getting cleaned twice before the next time anybody uses it. We have a little tote that we have next to the mats. We put a white towel in, cover the towel in water or bleach water so that it doesn't spill all over the place. It gets knocked over or anything. The towel kind of soaks it up, but you get the opportunity to clean your feet off between kicking your sandals or your shoes off. Clean your feet off, then you can walk on the mats. We have a COVID, so yep, we're temperature checking everybody that comes in. Anything 99.0 or higher, we're going to ask that they go back home for the day or until their symptoms have resolved. We have a questionnaire that for the first week, it's going to be every person who walks through our door every single day fills it out, and then it's also got a line on the questionnaire to list their temperature check for the day. That way, we're covered. That goes immediately into our front desk personnel will put that immediately into their member file. And, if anybody comes in and asks, well, hey, what about this person? They were seen sneezing at Walmart. Well, yesterday they were 98.6 and happy and healthy. Sorry, they're sneezing at Walmart now. That's about all we could do. And then for the following week, we've got a 2-week period for phase 2 that carries us through to June 20. 22nd, if I remember correctly. I don't have my sheet here in front of me, but it's virtually the same thing. The only difference is we're going to allow partner drilling. For the most part, when people are breathing heavy, they're pulling from the lower portion of their lungs, right? Which is where the majority of bacteria and stuff sits, because if you're not athletic, that's where you get the least amount of airflow into your lung. We're used to breathing. I'm just sitting here talking with partial breaths from our upper lobes of our lung. So when people start breathing, if let's say we do have somebody that has had COVID and maybe they've recovered from it, in all likelihood, if they begin getting super out of breath and they still have any bacterial or viral traces in their lower lobes, that's where it's going to be coming out from. So we wanted that 2-week period where people aren't breathing heavy, but they have the opportunity to start, at least doing partner drilling. And then from there, after that, it's kind of classes go back to normal. We'll still do our weekly COVID questionnaire just to make sure that there's not been any issues. But I don't see any need to draw this out past the end of the month, the beginning of July.
I have a question. Are you going to do people? Are they going to have to work with the same partner every day? So that way, if one gets sick, you don't have to worry about like 5 people being connected with that person. Instead, if people keep the same partners, is that something you've thought about?
We've talked about making sure that we keep family members together, because we have a lot of father son and then husband wives that train together. But other than that, that's actually probably a really good idea. I would definitely add that as an amendment to our phases.
Yeah, Gina had said something about doing in her gym. They're going to probably do like a group A and group B. Mm-hmm. So that way, if group A gets sick, at least group B can still train.
Okay.
Yeah. No cross contamination. The thing that we're talking about is, say Adam and Linda are group A, and Brandon and Dustin are group B. If Adam gets sick, then he's he's only maybe affected Linda. He's not also affected the other 2. So it's just it's an idea of how to keep, let's keep these 2 groups separate so that they're not cross contaminating. Because when you have 4 people, if you keep those 4 people together, they can train. But when they intermingle, now you have 8 people that are sick. And like I said, it's something we talked about from like Linda's work does it. Some of the people in our association with 10th Planet are talking about that as well. Teresa, you recently got your blue belt.
Did.
Yay! We have another one in Kentucky.
Yeah. How did that feel was it awkward for you to kind of get it during the pandemic?
It was, yeah. We've still been training. Ian's helped me out. We've been doing drilling at home kind of thing, and that's always helped me out a lot. I think my biggest thing was just nerves. Just, getting put on the spot, I think, and being able to actually work through something was kind of where I kind of was stuck at for a while. So
you're actually the 4th girl that we know that's been promoted during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Is she?
So obviously, or maybe the 3rd. Chattanooga has one, this girl Laura Hamilton, Brittany Bays, and then her. That you guys have all gotten your blue belt, and I'm like, well, this says anything. We are all still kind of secretly training. Because I think Joe gave it to Brittany, I think.
Yeah. How did you feel about getting your belt from your husband?
I was really glad. I would much rather have gotten it from him, because that's who I've been trained under, and I think it just means more. I've been doing it for a long time, and between kids sports and not being able to train generally because of that, it's just been a long time coming.
Yeah, I remember. I think I met you. Years ago at Phil's gym. So you've been out a while, and I don't think Ian's kind of a hard ass. I don't think he'd promote anybody that didn't deserve it.
Yeah, I was right up there and said while he trained.
This poor woman's a saint.
It was so hot that day too.
Oh, God. It's no big secret that I quit fighting, but man, towards the end of my career, even though I only got to fight like 4 times, freaking, I had like 10 fight camps in a year and a half time span. He literally traveled everywhere with me. We was at Phil's gym one day a week. We were at Four Seasons 2 mornings a week, and then every other day we were in Johnson City, Tennessee, with Adam Townsend. And she's a saint, man. She's never complained one time.
Do you plan on competing at all now that you've got your blue belt, or is that something that you kind of want to stay away from?
I don't know. With competing, I'm generally just nervous. I guess, we done a CrossFit comp, and my nerves were just shot. And I don't know why, but I guess just being in front of it, I was always weird about that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen
it's definitely a different feeling.
My daughter, she's competed a couple times and she does really good at it, but she's just, and I was kind of surprised for her because she's pretty shy. She's kind of has always been a little bit back, but she competes really well. So I don't know.
Sometimes you just have to force yourself to do one, and once you do force yourself to do one, then you're like, you get it out of the way.
That's what I like when I talk to our students. That's one of the things I tell them. Like, if you've never had any type of combat in your life, whether it's even a street fight. Not that I advocate for. Sorry, I'll scoot over, my bad. Not that I advocate for street fights by any means, but if you're literally busting your proverbial combat sports cherry, and I tell everybody, I was like, most people do terrible their first tournament. It's not their fault. Dealing with adrenaline and learning how to pace yourself and all that stuff. Like I tell people, if you're going to sign up for one, go ahead right now and commit to yourself mentally. I'm going to do 2 competitions. I'm going to do one that I may or may not do very well at because it's my first time ever competing, and then my second one, that's where I'm going to shine. Or at least that mentality I try to get across to our students. Yeah,
and I think it's also hard because I taught a women's class at Phil's gym for a long time, and my girls, their first tournament, it's hurry up and wait, and I don't think they expected that. They thought that, they would get to go in there, and then it would be time to go, and it would be over. But it's like you may have to wait all day for your match. You're sitting there, exhausting yourself, waiting for it to happen. So Lori said, I can't imagine myself training and not competing. But I think if you're a wrestler or somebody that's competed a lot your whole life, I think it gets a little bit different. Because Lori's a collegiate wrestler and wrestled through school and stuff, so I think it is a little bit different. I don't know. I've always competed in sports. How do you feel, Gina?
I competed in
doing combat sports.
I didn't come up doing combat sports, but I came up as an athlete. I did track and field runner. Some people think that cheer is a sport, others don't. I do, if they're doing tumbling. If you're doing tumbling and everything. But when I first started, what's kind of funny is I had a girlfriend start at the same time as me, and she was like, I think I'm going to ask about being on the competition team. And I was like, have you seen how they treat each other? No.
And now you're the biggest bully ever.
I know. So for me, competition was hey, I bully people I care about. So for me, competition wasn't something that I was interested in. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. I didn't have any desire to do so. But people compete for different reasons. Some people come in and they want to be, the most famous MMA fighter in the world. When I did finally compete, little Chris and I, there was a tournament down in Somerset actually, with now they're called East West Karate, but they were something else then. They had the highest, and that was our first competition. And the whole reason that we even wanted to do it was, I just want to see if I can use what I'm learning. It was kind of what is all this training for if I don't kind of see how I react when I'm really under pressure, because no matter how hard you go in the gym, it's not the same as when you are under the pressure. People are watching me, like, you know, here's a person I don't know who's going to try and like rip my arm off. Like it's just so different. So it is good to kind of figure out, like, you know, what, like, not even about winning or losing, but like what happens to me when I'm really under pressure. And, you know, if you think about it like that, I think it's a little easier to compete, because now it's not like about the gold medal. It's about like, let me see, like, because they say like you can gain like the same amount of like development in like one competition that you get from like 3 months of training. And that's because now you are kind of testing out to see, like, what does my body do? Like, what does my mind do? And then if you're thinking about real self-defense, like, you need to take that out and like really assess what happened to you in competition, and figure out ways that you can change that. I think is kind of that was always kind of the point for me. Like, not necessarily about winning or losing, but what can I do and take this to use to like make me more practical, like as a teacher or as a, you know, as in a self-defense perspective. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah, honestly, I think one of the weirder things I've figured out about my personal journey through like martial arts is, you know, when I fought MMA, I've been like more of a jiu-jitsu person since I've started. I wrestled and did jiu-jitsu, so striking was never that important. And obviously, I learned that after fighting. But after my fight, you know, looking back, I think one of the things, I look at my record, and it really kind of sucks because I'm 0-2. But I look at it and I'm like, well, in those situations, I mean, at one point I had my nose broke and my orbital broke, but I was defending myself from like being killed, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still fighting back. I'm still pushing forward. I'm still doing all these things. And I was like, holy shit, like, even though I lost, like, I'm like a tough person to kill. And that's something that I get a little bit of pride from, because I'm like, okay, there is growth from this. Like, I do, even though it is a loss, I can go forward and be like, okay, I can work on all these things, but I have it in me to defend myself, defend my family, and do what it takes to, you know, make it through if this were a tribal situation, I guess.
Before we let you guys go, is there anything that you want to kind of add or make sure that people know, or ways that they can reach out to you? Because you guys have been very helpful and willing to share your plan with other gym owners, which is one of the really cool things I think about all this is, like, you know, like you see other gyms and like maybe, you know, other gyms talk shit about other gyms and affiliations and all that kind of garbage. But it really does feel like there's been like a real come together of, you know, it doesn't matter 10th Planet and Carlson Gracie, like we both speak the language of jiu-jitsu. So that's something I think has been like a very good thing to kind of come out of this. And you guys are definitely doing your part. So if you guys wouldn't mind to share how people can get a hold of you and what you're willing to share with them.
Our phone number, our gym's phone's actually a cell phone. Makes it easy to get in touch with clients and members quickly via text message. But our phone number is 606-416-9834. Honestly, I don't care about, I don't get into any of the drama. I know Gina made a comment about 10th Planet and Carlson Gracie. Hey, if you got an issue with 10th Planet, you're a dumbass, man. Every time I've came through their door, they've been loving and kind to us. We've been up there, you know, multiple times for fight camps, and, you know, heck, I even fought one of their guys once, and they still welcome me in. Her and Scott are phenomenal people, and I think that it's, if anything, I think this whole pandemic has actually brought a lot of people a lot closer together, and we've gotten to see exactly how awesome our world can be.
Our community is awesome.
Yeah. If you are, somebody or a gym owner who's, struggling to come up with a plan, or you need some help adding an addendum to your waiver, I've already had my attorney do that. If you guys would like my COVID questionnaire, that really, I just stole it wasn't anything special. I just stole the same COVID questionnaire that the CDC and WHO passed down to like medical facilities. Like, when you walk into your doctor's office and they ask you your 10 little questions or whatever before you're allowed to go back to see your doctor, it's pretty much the exact same thing. There's virtually no difference, but if you guys need that, just let me know. I have no issue. I can even post that up as like a document to our gym's Facebook page, and you guys can come poach it as you see fit.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for coming on. And again, Teresa, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. We'll have to bring our Bluegrass Women's Jiu-Jitsu Club open match to your all's gym after this is over.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, you guys have a good one.
All
right, bye-bye.
You too. That was a good conversation. Yeah, so nice.
So that's something that people need to kind of do. Jiu-jitsu people, I think, in our meeting, Scott and I talked about this. It was a little bit refreshing to talk with a pretty good-sized group of people who are think like us, because it does feel like, like our governor, like whether you like what he's doing or not, he has it was like an 80% approval rating. So, a little bit you feel like the minority, but also people are coming down on you so hard. So it's really difficult, I think, to like kind of step up and talk about how you feel. And there are those arguments of, well, you don't care about this person or that person. And that's just not the case.
And, martial arts people are some of the most caring people I've ever met in my life. So to kind of hear some of our people be labeled as like assholes, or that they don't care about the community, or they don't care about whatever. I don't know a single gym owner that has, if a person has said like they can't afford it, or they can't do this, or their lifestyle or whatever. I mean, I know people that train for free or there's not a single gym that doesn't have a member or a couple of members or some people that are really being helped out by the gym owners. So it hurts to see the people that do so much good for the community be like pushed down like that.
Yeah,
it's not a money-making business.
No, it isn't.
These people are all they love what they do, and they love the people that are in their gym.
Almost all gym owners that I know, including myself and Scott, like we all have other jobs. Fortunately, Scott and I have been lucky enough that our other jobs also revolve around physical fitness and training martial arts, but that's not the case for some people. Like, just to keep the gyms sometimes just kind of, they do enough to keep their doors open and the lights on.
Phil owns a sign shop.
Yeah. So I think it is difficult for people, but some of it is kind of, what is it called? They kind of earned it by mistake because they didn't say it right. When you're like, well, if you have an underlying condition, you should stay home.
It was kind of as we were talking about yesterday with Tabitha.
I get what you're saying, but you can't say it like that and it not be perceived as insensitive. Because sometimes I want to be like, well, and this will sound insensitive, but a little bit, when people are kind of coming down on me about wanting to open and not wanting to do this, not wanting to do that, I'm like, well, that's all fine and good, but Ian was talking too, if you have any of these underlying conditions like obesity and things like that, if you're so concerned about your health, what are you doing to get rid of those underlying conditions? Because those things are something you can work on. So it's really hard not to, it's really hard when someone's kind of coming at you harshly to not use that kind of fact and not come back at them snarky. Well, if you're so concerned about it, then why the fuck are you going through the McDonald's drive-through? There's a part of you that wants to say some shit like that, but it's not exactly the right way to do so. But I mean, it does bring up a valid point, I think Ian even posted, if some of this were about our health, then why aren't we mandating, other important things that like are risks to our health? And then there's the thing of like, well, it's not about you, it's about everyone. But it's just tough.
Yeah, it's a really tough spot. I can't imagine being in control of making choices like you and oh yeah, Lori's got a good point. I don't know, just being in control of this situation. I'm lucky, and I just have somebody that calls me and says, okay, you can go back to work now. There's not really an easy way to do it for someone who is owning the business, because I feel like either way you can be the bad guy.
Yeah, that's true. And I tell you some things that I worry about, like we talked about this before, like I worry about, all our social programs that are being cut. I mean, I worry about, you do have members, like we have some members who are, they are much more cautious than like say I am or whatever the case may be. But you don't want to offend them.
What does that sound?
That's my cat crying. She is such a fucking baby.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you because it's like
my husband is out in the garage and he won't let her in, so she's crying because he's out there and she's at the door. Oh, now see, he opened the door because he heard it too. Heard me yell, and now all three of them have run to the door because he's a cat dad, and they cry when he won't let them in the room. But anyways, I don't know what our cats are going to do when we go back to work.
Sorry, I was like,
yes,
I did not hear anything over that crying. I was thinking, like, is that Natalie making like a weird noise?
Does my cat Ravioli? She's a big fucking baby. Like wherever he goes, she's got to follow him. If he goes out to the garage, she's got to be out there. And if we won't let her out there, she sits at the door and cries and walks around and comes over at me and look at me like, "Won't you help me?" It's fucking ridiculous. But the things I worry about is like your members getting offended, maybe. And I do worry about like if you offend somebody, like they can call that hotline on you. Like, what if you open with kids in your facility, and technically kids aren't no youth sports or child cares are allowed to open till June 15th. So like, what if somebody like says, "Oh, you let your kid go do this," and they do something like call social services? Like, is that a possibility? Like, there's still a lot of worries. Like
yeah. I think that was the point that Emily was trying to make.
Yeah.
Like I could see it being scary. I mean, I don't know. Well, how that meeting last night, how was Orlando? What was his plan of action? Did he have one or?
Our plan of action is to get together and make a plan of action. I'm not going to.
Because he got that little ticket or whatever. So I was just wondering if he's thought of something different because he didn't want to get in trouble again.
No, I think the idea is that number one, I think it's important, like as a gym owner myself, that we realize that like you're not sitting here by yourself thinking, shit, if I open on June 1st and I get arrested, like, am I going to be, sitting here and the rest of the jiu-jitsu community is going to be like, "See, asshole, that's what you get." I think it was just important to get together and say, "Hey, like we're as a collective, this is our plan. This is what we're going to do. And if something happens to you, we support you. And this is not something that like you feel by yourself." Because essentially, like when you look at the order, it says that gyms can open. Well, for us, we're the AFS Academy, Academy of Analytical Fighting Systems of Martial Arts, and it's always been in the name, and fitness. So, for the people that, like they're just opening because we're a gym. Well, I guess the argument could be made is, no, you're not a gym, you're a martial arts school. So, you need to have a plan for what if suddenly you get a letter that says, oh, by the way, you've been open 2 weeks and we're going to fine you $1,000 a day. Like, I think it's important to know that we're all kind of on the same page, that no, we feel like we're gyms and this is our plan of action. And if one of us is, if one of us has an issue, we all kind of have an issue, so. You'll see some stuff coming out, like like Emily, she needs to kind of get with Michelle Day and let her know that, what it is like she needs, because we are sharing information. We're getting together, making sure that we all have the waivers updated. We all have kind of a similar plan of action. I think it's really important that nobody just goes cowboying up.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do that if you want to, but like we have a similar plan. And if somebody does kind of go rogue cowboy,
right.
what to kind of go from there. So, I think it's important for members to know too. And like, that's where a lot of gym owners are. Like, our members need to know what our plan is. And that information is going to be released pretty soon. And it's not going to just be, 10th Planet, but it's going to be Somerset Combat Academy. It's going to be Core Combat Sports. It's going to, it's going to be Georgetown MMA. Like we are on the same page. And you know what? We'll probably all fight each other again in the first jiu-jitsu tournament that comes up available.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that, we don't care about each other. Like that's just a test to see how the individual can handle their training. Like at the end of the day, we are all, we all, like I said, we all speak the language of jiu-jitsu. So we're gonna come together for that.
That's awesome. I'm really proud of everybody. Like it makes me happy to see our community being so proactive and like so there for each other, because we could easily say like go fuck yourself to other gyms a little bit and kind of do your own thing, but it's obviously stronger this way.
Yeah. And like at the end of the day, you're not there's no like, okay, by July 1st they're letting bars open up with like 50 people. Like,
yeah,
you mean to tell me we can't get together with 20 people and roll jiu-jitsu by then? Like there does need to be some kind of like plan of, if that's what we're allowing, then, we should be included in that too, because essentially in some of those announcements, like it's kind of left like we're still in the dark. Like, what does it mean that childcare centers are going to open? What does it mean that youth sports open? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, you mean to tell me you're going to try and keep 4-year-olds 6 feet away from each other and wearing a mask? Good fucking luck.
And it's hard, like, also, like, for people going back to work, if everybody's employer is going back and we have no place for the kids to go, then that's creating a really big problem, too.
Yeah.
Like, that's one issue we've been having through the company I work for. Like, a lot of people aren't able to come back right now because of that.
They don't have childcare. Because
they're single parents, and, like, it's getting really hard to find someone to watch their kid 5 days a week, and there's no school, there's no anything, so it's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Big stressor.
I don't know. There are childcare facilities that are open right now, because they have like the special orders for like essential employees and stuff like that. Like, but I mean, I don't know how they're managing that. Like, the information's not.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with the kids in there, because I just don't see it. I mean, as being possible to.
I mean, if you've ever
social distancing.
I post the meme all the time, like teaching like 3 and 4-year-olds is like herding cats, herding kittens, because like you get one to stay still and like 3 other walk over here, like. Unless you're fucking with a whip, like beating them, you ain't getting no kids to stay away from each other and wear a mask and like not have the 2 green snots like running down their nose, like.
Yeah. Hands always sticky. Like having no clue what they touched. today was a good conversation with him. I'm interested to see where this goes, and we should do an update in a few days when we kind of figure out more of a concrete.
You let us know how it goes in Tennessee.
Hopefully I don't die of corona, right? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, hopefully I'll have lots of good stuff. I think I'm going to try to do a couple interviews with, I think Clay has a good perspective too. Maybe I'll do an interview with him to put on one of the podcasts.
Well, we have that because we have this account now. They took away my ability to download the video and download the audio. So now that I've fixed that, which I had to do it the hard way yesterday, to get it on YouTube.
I can just put it on. I can just do it on Anchor, right?
Well, yeah, but that's what I mean. Like this that we do here, I was able to rip the audio and rip the video and just put it on YouTube, because this is only available for 7 days.
Yeah.
So it was really difficult to, like, before it was easy. And then after episode 8, they made it to where I couldn't do that. So yesterday I did it the hard way, to where I had to like screen record our account and then edit the video. And it literally took me almost all fucking day. But yesterday's episode is on YouTube and it is on Anchor. But it was like a real pain in the ass. So that's when I decided, it's time to upgrade a little bit.
Upgrade the account.
Yeah. So if you'd like to sponsor us, we could use some sponsorship to help us obviously pay for that. It makes it available on more platforms, so that if you don't want to open Facebook and listen, you can open it on YouTube, or you can just listen to it. Like, it's available on what's that podcast again? Spotify. Yeah. That way you can listen on your way to work, hopefully.
Right, when we can all get back to work.
But we are available now on those platforms, and obviously our video looks better. So you can record and upload it to Anchor, and those interviews will be there, and we'll just kind of keep pressing forward.
Cool. All right, you guys have a great day, and I'll catch up with you guys later.
Later. I never do this right.